Welcome back to day number 2, March 18th, 2020. Hope everybody is still doing well and they're safe and healthy. Today we're going to kind of revisit some questions that we've already solved before. Our main focus today will be writing the null and alternative hypothesis. So let's get right to it. I'll try to make this video as quick as I can without rambling, that I'm pretty famous for doing, I guess. So when you're writing a null and alternative hypothesis, when given a situation, there's two types of situations depending on some of the key words that are in the problem. The two types of situations, you could have a one-tail test. And I'll tell you what, let's just stick with that for right now. A one-tail test has two situations. Okay. Basically, a one-tail test kind of looks like this. We have our normal distribution, and it's kind of like one direction. Okay, it's either going to be one of two things, but that's what a one-tailed test looks like. And your critical values that we're going to talk about are different compared to a two-tailed test. So one-tailed test, here's the situations that you have. When you start writing a hypothesis testing, so here's null. Okay, we're talking about means. So I'm going to draw that up. You're going to have mu, because that's population mean, is equal to whatever the claim states. Okay, whatever the claim states. So that's our null hypothesis. The null is the claim that is being made about the population, and it's set in stone. It's going to be mu is equal to something. Okay? I should remind you this is for means. Okay? Now, depending on how it reads in the problem, okay, the alternative to being equal to could be one of two things. All right? Let's say you're reading a claim or reading a problem, and you suspect the claim to be greater than the claim. So you're going to say, in the alternative, mu is greater than, I think it's greater than this, or that's what we suspect. So what I'm doing here, where that blank space that I highlighted, those are actually the same number. Okay, so if someone says the IQ scores at Shawnee State University are 110, okay, that's the claim. You may think that it is higher than that. So what it would look like when you write this is, 110 there. You're going to drop 110 there. Okay? We'll look at that when we get to a problem. The real change is what's in our alternative. Okay? What's in our alternative when we run this test? You have to recognize a one-tail test versus a two-tail test. The next one-tail situation, maybe someone is claiming that their ACT scores are this, and you suspect it to be lower than that. Okay? if you suspect something to be lower, then you have a one-tail test again. Okay, now the Z critical values, I will be attaching a chart for you to use to follow in the near future. But today we're just focusing on writing this. Okay, so one-tail test again. Is it going to be higher or it's going to be lower? Okay. So let's look at a two-tail test. Critical values are different in a two-tail test. I will keep saying that throughout this unit. In a two-tail test, I still don't have a stylus. I used to have some, but some people deny me of that. So your null is always going to be your population perimeter. In this case, we're talking about mean, so we're going to use mu. Okay. The alternative, if it is a two-tail test, then you're just going to write not equal to. We don't know if it's higher or lower. We're just going to say it's not equal to that. Now, a two-tail test, most often you'll see you suspect a claim. Now, if it don't state whether you think it's higher or lower, it don't give any direction, you have to run a two-tail test. Okay, so this is kind of like no direction. Oh, I'm buying me a stylus tonight, I can already tell you. No direction, you have to run the two-tail. All right. So there's our types of situations, and I'll go through a couple of examples with you, and we'll go from there. So let's take a look at the question that we had from yesterday. Okay, we already classified it as a Z-test. Now we're going to write a hypothesis testing for this problem. Okay, so a university admissions director claims the average ACT of entering freshmen is 23. Okay, I'm right here. That's our claim. You suspect this claim. Okay, now I wrote suspect this claim, I'm thinking two-tail. But you got to keep reading on and feel the average ACT score for these students. There's our key word, lower than the director's claim. So, we're in our first stage of hypothesis testing, and it's as simple as this, okay? And you can rewind back and forth on this, but so for this example one problem, okay, let's go to stage one here. Let's write it. We got to state the null and the alternative hypothesis. Okay, that's what we're going to want to do. So, sorry, I lost my place. Basically, we're in step one. Step one, we're going to set it up. And we'll add more steps later.
Teachers, just an FYI, when we go to do lunch for the grab and go.
All right, so sorry about the interruption. So step one, set it up. Let's look back at our problem. We have the claim, ACT is 23. Okay, we know it's a Z-test because we're given a population standard deviation. So when I set it up, I'm simply going to write H subscript O, okay, mu, okay, they're making a claim about the population mean, is 23. Now you're halfway there in setting this up. So we suspect it. We think it's lower, or feel that the ACT score might be lower. So for the H sub A, the alternative, you're going to simply write, I am so sorry about my handwriting, mu, having issues, mu is lower than 23. Okay, this is a one tail situation. Okay, that's what we're looking at. So you want to look through the problem. I mean, this is it for today. We just set it up. Step one. We're testing the claim whether or not mu is 23. We have a one-tailed test where in the problem it says we suspect it to be lower. Okay? Now, your job for today's lesson is to look at questions 2 and 3. Okay? Question 3, I know there's going to be a concern. I'll kind of get you started on that. But, I want you to set the null and alternative hypothesis statements up just like I did for number 1 there. So number 2, a light bulb manufacturing company makes a claim in their advertisement that their light bulbs last 500 hours on average. Okay, that is a claim. Okay, think about that. You would like to test their claim. Okay. I'm trying to highlight claim. The population standard deviation of light bulbs is unknown. Okay, so kind of tie in what you did yesterday with classifying it. Now, when you're writing the null and alternative hypothesis, the Z or T test in this setup is no different. Okay, is no different. Now, for number 3, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has established an air quality standard for lead of 1.5 micrograms per cubic meter. There is a concern at the university about the quality of air in one of their buildings. The measurements shown below were collected on 6 randomly selected days and will be used to test the claim that the sample is from a population with mean greater than the EPA standard. Now, if you watch this video, you shouldn't understand. I'm going to tell you that this is the EPA's claim. Okay? This is our EPA's claim. I'm not worried about this yet. Okay, so there's no concern for you to be concerned about when you're writing the null and alternative hypothesis. You need this number, and, okay, you need to think about there's a concern, and you need to look for key phrases when setting this one up. Okay, especially in this last sentence. What you need to set up the null and alternative hypothesis is in there. Okay, there's nothing you need to do with this data as of now. We'll take care of that later. So if you will, set up, just like I did for example 1, the null and alternative hypothesis. Okay, it should look something similar to this right here. State whether it's a one tail or a two tail. Okay, if you go back, okay, that's what a two tail test should look like. You just suspect a claim. There's no direction. What I mean by no direction, it doesn't say less than or more than or anything like that. Okay? If it says greater than, you have a one-tail test. If it says less than, you have a one-tail test. That's what those will look like. Okay? Send that to me. Email it to me, however you wish. Problems 2 and 3. Stay healthy and be safe.